There, my name is Dalene and I'm so excited about this Philadelphia cream cheese contest. One of the reasons that I'm so excited is because I was born in South Africa. I spent my adolescence in Australia and my adulthood in America. And one of the ingredients that has been readily available to me on all three continents is Philadelphia cream cheese. So I had a really hard time narrowing which Philadelphia cream cheese recipe to use. My grandmother used this ingredient in most of her recipes. What I decided to do was prepare my Southwest Shepherd's Pie, and that is actually infused with Philadelphia cream cheese mashed potatoes. Alongside that, I'm going to use a sliced salad, and my grandmother used this to complement the Southwest Shepherd's Pie. What it is sliced tomatoes. To prepare the cucumber shepherd's pie, I have 1 medium onion, half a yellow pepper, half a red pepper, 1 whole jalapeno, half a cup of fresh cilantro, 1 cup of frozen corn, and half a cup of Kraft natural cheese. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add all these ingredients except the cilantro into a saute pan, and we're going to saute it. So I'm going to go ahead right here, and I already have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil added into the pan. So I'm going to add the onions, I'm going to add the yellow peppers, the red pepper, the corn, and the jalapeno. So I'm going to go ahead and let this saute for about 5 minutes. Now while this is sauteing, I already have boiled 8 large potatoes. And what I'm going to do to these 8 large potatoes is I'm going to add 1 box of Philadelphia cream cheese, 1 stick of butter, 4 ounces of butter, and some salt and pepper to taste. So I know a lot of people tend to use like hand mixers or hand blenders to prepare their mashed potatoes, but I like mine really thick and really chunky. So I'm going to go ahead and use a hand masher. There is no better complement than Philadelphia cream cheese to mashed potatoes. It adds a really creamy flavor and a really salty flavor. It's really a good balance. Now in addition to the cream cheese and the butter, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of skim milk. You can add 2% milk, full cream milk, whatever you like. I prefer you don't want it smooth, you want it chunky and full of taste, because we're going to bake it for an additional 20 minutes in the oven, so we don't want it to be like pureed. Now previously I browned 2.5 pounds of ground beef, and I used 23 to 77% ground beef. I like using the ground beef with a little bit of fat because it adds flavor, and all I added to the ground beef was just a little bit of salt and pepper. What I'm going to do is once the vegetables are sauteed, I'm going to add the ground beef to the vegetables along with 1 can of diced tomatoes which I have blended. And then I'm going to layer it with the mashed potatoes. Now this recipe is a family recipe that has been passed on from my grandmother. There has been some modifications that I've made. In South Africa we used red chilies. That's really not available here in America, so I chose to use jalapenos. I do like them because they have a smoky flavor. One thing I really like about this recipe is that you can make it and then it tastes great even after you freeze it. So if you make this recipe, utilize half of it and freeze the other half and bring it out a couple weeks later, it still tastes as good as the first day. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of garlic. I would say 1 tablespoon of garlic to the vegetables, and some salt and pepper to taste. Okay. And one thing I also forgot to mention is that while I was browning this ground beef, I added 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. It adds a little more flavor and a little more body to the ground beef. So now that I've sauteed these vegetables, I'm going to go ahead and add the ground beef to it, and the can of diced tomatoes, which I've put in the blender. My kids really, really love this shepherd's pie. Armana, what do you think of Mommy's cooking? This is my daughter Armana. She is 6 years old. I have this 6-year-old and so I have ground beef mixture ready with the vegetables, and I added the cilantro. I have my mashed potatoes with that delicious Philadelphia cream cheese and butter, along with some skim milk. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assemble it. This is so simple. All you do is start off with your mashed potatoes and spread it in the pan, and then add your ground beef mixture, and then since I love the quality of Kraft products so much, I'm going to add some Kraft Mexican style cheese. I'm going to add a quarter of a cup onto this. Then I'm going to add some more mashed potatoes. And some more ground beef. And then I'm going to add some more mashed potatoes. I'm going to finish it off with the mashed potatoes. And then I'm going to put this into a 400-degree oven and bake it for like 20 minutes. Then I'm going to add the rest of the Kraft grated cheese. I'm going to bake it at 400 degrees. And once it's done, this is what it should look like over here. And I'm going to serve it with that sliced salad and some garlic bread. You can use whatever garlic bread you like. This is just an awesome, awesome recipe. I mean, you can have this in the summertime, in the wintertime, in the springtime, because it's full of all the vegetables that you need, as well as the extras, the nutrition. Okay, let's redo that. Let's